Sorry, I was a little late. Just got done with my flag football game. I gotta be touchdowns.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Jordan McKelly. We didn't have our sound on a minute ago. That's Mitch Balla. We're the Cover Your Balls crew. And he's wearing a Tim Tebow jersey. Welcome. It is Tuesday, December 1st, and we are out here. We have a lot to cover today, a lot to go over, and we're pretty excited about it.
Very excited.
Yeah, have some college basketball.
College basketball, some NFL, some fighting. There's no balls in fighting, but we're still going to cover it.
Oh, we're going to cover it.
We're going to cover all your balls today.
Oh, we are. And a lot to go over the weekend, and I'm excited. Let's go ahead and do our top four at four, though, before we get into some of our big topics. Our top four at four this week, Mitch, is where are the four top places you would order DoorDash from in order? If you got four places for free to DoorDash from, what would be those four?
So no cost at all?
None.
Not even on the food?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes things a little bit. I can't put Chipotle in there. DoorDash already screwed that up multiple times. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
So Cheesecake Factory's in there. You know, they have something. What don't they have that you would want?
Everything. They have everything.
You know, they have cheesecake too.
Yes.
That's kind of ironic. Didn't know
Hey.
that.
Woo!
I would definitely say Cheesecake Factory's in there. I love Wingstop. So Wingstop's in there.
Oh, big one. I've gotten Wingstop. I got it last night, actually. I get the Parmesan dry rub,
Ooh,
and I get the barbecue.
that's a very good pick.
Yeah.
Very solid pick. After that, man, it's tough because this is gonna be odd, but a boatload of pancakes from IHOP.
Boatload of pancakes.
Boatload of pancakes.
See, but pancakes don't travel. Much like the Browns used to not be able to travel, pancakes don't travel. I wouldn't be able to order pancakes. I'd have to eat them right then.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, pancakes don't travel, just like the Browns haven't for the last 20 years until this year. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We'll move that down to 4. Everything else moves up. And number 1.
Okay.
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I have so many different options, but just a bomb burger from somewhere. I don't care.
Okay.
I just need a bomb burger. If it's free and it's going to have the egg on it, some bacon, maybe some onion straws.
Yeah.
Oh, man, load that thing up. You know what? Maybe from Bubba's.
From Bubba's.
Bubba's.
Uh,
Oh. Let me tell you.
Woo!
They got a
Bubba.
good burger. They got a good burger over there.
Okay. Wow, that's okay. All right.
All right, let's hear your
I
4.
respect your top 4. Number 1, we'll get to in a minute. We got to go through 4, 3, and 2 first. So let's go with number 4. You know, I like some Wingstop. You know, the fact that Wingstop is my 4th choice means that I have 3 other choices that are unbelievable. Let me tell you that. Next, at 3, I have Cane's. Can you go wrong with Cane's? No. The answer's no. I don't care what your opinion is. You can't go wrong with Cane's. Cane's at 3. At number 2, have you ever had a cinnamon roll from Panera Bread? Man, I will order a pick 2 and a cinnamon roll. Send that over to my house at number 2. In number 1. Number 1.
Number uno.
Steak and shake. Now, steak and shake shakes, man, they suck. But if you want a garlic hamburger with just butter just smeared all over it, that's what you get at number 1.
They do have a great garlic buttery burger.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Top notch.
It
really.
is top notch. Might get it for dinner tonight. We are in Canton.
We are out here.
Yeah, we are out here. A lot to get from this weekend. The Browns with another huge win this weekend. Huge win. What'd you make of that game? That was probably the least contact me and you have had while watching a game yet this year. Mm-hmm. And so I haven't really got a chance to get your thoughts on this yet.
A win's a win.
A win is a win.
I could sit here and nitpick and complain, but I'm not going to do that like other Browns fans are complaining
Yeah.
that we're 8-3. This isn't college football. You don't get style points to get into the playoff.
No.
Win. You just win. And we are 8-3. We have clinched our first non-losing season in 13 years.
This is unbelievable.
Can't believe we had to wait that long.
Yeah.
And we're on pace to break the longest playoff drought in the NFL. So a win's a win. I'll take it. Baker missed some throws, but everybody that wants to lash out on him, Russell Wilson missed a wide open player in the end zone last
Oh,
night.
he did.
Yeah,
I
so-
saw the tweets fly out about that.
Because apparently people think only Baker Mayfield does that. So MVP Russ, that people think he's MVP
Yeah.
candidate, he does miss wide open people in the end zone. So it's not just Baker Mayfield. We'll put that there.
He
but
does, but it's a bigger thing on. See, Russell Wilson never throws a bad pass. He just happened to throw one last night. Like, he is one of the most efficient quarterbacks of all time with the ball in his hands.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
just saying. So, like, when you're comparing it like that,
Well,
it's
Sunday it was like he was the only person that has ever thrown.
Russell Wilson is afforded that because of all the spectacular plays he makes. And Baker is not even in his stratosphere. No disrespect to Baker, I love him, but like, we're talking about maybe the best current quarterback and then a middle of the pack guy, right?
If not best, he's top 4 in Russ.
Okay.
But I'm just
Yeah.
other people do that.
I know. I just
there-
wanted to point
well,
that out.
I know, but
There is a difference.
I need people to understand that it's not just Baker, but he for some reason can't do the easy throws. But man, can he make the most difficult throws
Man,
that
he made some unbelievable throws this weekend.
I can't even. It's like, why are you throwing that ball? But then he gets it in that tight window, and Jarvis Landry has 143 receiving yards, and next thing you know, we're moving the ball. And how about Nick Chubb?
I know. A huge
MVP
game.
candidate?
I definitely. I mean, if you take, he missed 4 games, and in those 4 games, we were 2-2, and when you're 2-2, that's 500. That's not playoff football.
No, it's not playoff football.
And you take 2-2 out of our record, and we're what, 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have Nick Chubb, we've only lost 1 game so far when we've had Nick Chubb. That's a huge stat.
And that one
Tell
game-
me one other player in the NFL that has that. Honest to God, most teams don't even have a quarterback who you would say, okay, with that quarterback, I can win 6 out of 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
We're 30th in passing, but we're first in running. We only have 98, it's 98 more passing yards than we do rushing yards.
And that was without Nick Chubb
Yes.
for 3 games.
Yeah.
Or 4 games, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I mean, it's a small sample size, but the stats are there to back it up.
For sure.
He is the Browns' most valuable player.
Oh, no doubt. It's not
People
even
thought it was
comparable.
him or Myles Garrett. The Browns have now won 2 games in a row without Myles Garrett.
Yep.
Nick Chubb has a legitimate case. Now, can he get up there? He's going to have to go on a torrid pace, I think. He's going to have to rush for 120, we'll put it that way, the rest of the
Yeah.
year, and the Browns are going to have to win out or
Yeah,
drop 1 or 2.
We would have to beat
close.
the Titans.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe
the
the
Ravens.
Ravens.
I agree, but the case is there. But, man, it's so great to have him back.
I know.
It's so great to have him back.
He has that explosive speed, but he just packs a real punch. I mean, we saw that stiff arm he threw in the Eagles game 2 weeks ago, and he looked like he was going to put his hand through that guy's body like he was playing Mortal Kombat, like give me your soul. Like it was just such a fierce stiff arm. Like that's all I could think of. I'm like, this guy's a monster. Like he's throwing grown men who for a living are supposed to just destroy people.
and stop you.
Yeah.
And they can't stop him.
And they can't stop him at all. So I think it's unbelievable.
What did you think Sunday? What did you think about the game?
You know what I love about the Browns is that we have 9 rushing TDs, but we have 18 pass TDs. But we don't have that many pass yards or big explosive yards. But we've had a lot of red zone conversions through the air. And I've always found it so tough in the NFL to once the field shortens, it's harder to push the ball down the field.
Right.
Because you can't really push the ball down the field because there's not enough field to push. So like when you get in those first and goal or those awkward like when you're starting at the 18-yard line and then you get the next first down at the 8 instead of maybe a bigger play, and so your first down, you know what I mean? We've converted so many just red zone possessions into touchdowns through the air. And I think that says a lot about Baker Mayfield, and I think maybe we should give him a little more credit because he's not turning the ball over in the red zone.
4 straight games now he hasn't had a turnover, minus the fumble against Philly where it's a fumble that happens, and
Yep.
it wasn't like he forced anything there. Cox got back there and knocked the ball out of his hand.
And it happens to every quarterback.
Every quarterback.
Every
has fumbled.
quarterback.
Every quarterback has fumbled.
Yeah.
Some more than others, like Carson Wentz and Derek Carr. But hey, we'll touch on that later.
Oh, we'll touch on that. There's a lot to touch on that.
And a lot to cover.
And a lot to cover. So, huge. The fact that the Browns got that win. Do you believe they're playoff caliber?
Yeah, and for one reason that sticks out after Sunday,
Yeah.
previous Browns teams lose that game. Agree?
Oh,
100%.
absolutely.
Previous Browns teams lose the game against the Texans.
Yes.
They probably let the Eagles back in it earlier than they did last week, and they lose that game Sunday.
Yeah.
The last time the Browns had 7 wins, they went to Jacksonville, I believe it was 2014.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
And lost. And then that's when everything unraveled. They lose out to end the season. Mike Pettin gets fired. Complete chaos. So this was a huge game, whether people want to believe it or not, because Jacksonville is one of the worst teams in football.
Yeah, they are.
Pretty often. I mean, I know they're only a few years removed from the AFC Championship, but they just fired their GM. How about that?
Yeah.
Usually the Browns.
Caldwell, get out of there.
Teams beat the Browns and the Browns fire people. When's the last time the Browns beat somebody and get somebody fired?
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that.
That's
true.
It's worse.
You know, there is that stat that until basically this year with Kevin Stefanski, every time a Browns head coach gets fired, he gets fired after they lose to the Steelers. Well, we lost to the Steelers, and we didn't fire him, so we're in a good spot.
We're in a really good spot.
Yeah, we're not losing the games that we try. Like, we're not completely giving games over. Like, we're bending, and the games are close, but we're not breaking, and we're converting, and that's a playoff football team. I don't really care how you win. You just got to win. That's all you got to do.
And the key thing is, if you ask anybody in the Browns team, we've heard it from Baker, Stefanski, and Jarvis Landry, they're not playing their best football yet. And that's good for us as fans. And
we can be much better. We have a lot of players out.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of players out, but just the play in general. I mean, Baker Mayfield finally got to throw the ball where there wasn't 50-mile-per-hour winds or rain or hail or snow. Now, the throws he missed are inexcusable. Absolutely. I'm not sitting here and saying they're not. But it's the first time in a while he's got to throw with no conditions.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
But he made the hard throws, missed some easy ones, but we're over that. 8-3, on to Tennessee.
He called a good game. And how about his hard count on the line?
Oh,
getting teams to jump off sides. He's so much better under center. He's so much more disciplined than the other 3 years. I think that's the biggest thing that jumps out to me when I watch him. Like, he has complete control of this offense, and he's never really felt like he's had control before. And I think that's because he believes in his head coach because he's competent.
Yep.
We have Baker is not offended by the fact that we're going to run the ball through better players. His ego's not that big. He just wants to win.
Right.
Like, winning as a team feeds his ego. Which is great. So I think there's a lot of respect, and I think Kevin Stefanski, he has a plan. Like, I love 2 games ago when we were getting, who we were playing? The Eagles. And we couldn't run the football. And I said, just keep running the football. Just keep running the football. That's your identity. If you're going to lose, don't lose because you try to be something that you're not.
Right.
Stick true to who you are. And I know you have to be flexible and stuff. But there's enough flexibility within a game plan that you can just run the football and do it effectively. There's so many different aspects to it.
And you wear down the defense. And that's what finally happened against Philly. They finally wore down the defense that I'll still give them credit, even though we touched on it last episode. That defensive front was...
It's a top 10 defensive
besides
front,
the Steelers,
statistically for the whole year.
Right, but just from the eye test, besides the Steelers, that was the biggest front that gave us problems so far this year. And stuck to the game plan, wear them down, and we saw Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt bust out in the fourth quarter. Kind of did the same thing against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And it's very reassuring to see. And by the way, I think Baker Mayfield, if not top 3, if he's not the best, he's top 3 at hard count in the NFL already. It's remarkable how great he is at it.
Yeah, I can't believe how how useful it can be because it keeps the defense just completely on their heels. They don't know, and they at risking of being on your toes, waiting. You don't want to go offside, so it puts them in a very debilitating spot because you have to. A lot of getting to the quarterback is about timing. With you having to get past the guards and the tackles and stuff, so the hard count's it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. And what's funny is they were coming out and talking about the statistics with Chubb on how he gouges teams in the third and fourth quarter. The reason I kept telling you, and I knew that I had seen it so many times late in games, but statistically I couldn't have told you, hey Mitch, he's going to pop one because he's already done it 6 out of 7 times in fourth. I didn't know that, but I just felt it. And it's unbelievable that a player can leave that imprint on me with no statistics, just watch it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the exact numbers. It's crazy. Crazy. So, big shakeup in the AFC and the NFC. Let's go ahead Yeah, huge shakeups. We're going to go ahead and check these out. In the NFC, we still have the Packers leading at 8-3. The Vikings, who I said a couple weeks ago, if they could have if they could have closed out that game, they'd be looking at 6-5. They'd be right in the hunt. We have the Seahawks still winning in the West. In the East, we have the Giants. Oh, man, what an awful division. And it's up for the taking still, even for the Cowboys. And in the South, the Saints are continuing to win and find ways to win, with Taysom Hill, who is an awful passer of the football. And it's kind of unbelievable how effective he's been. In the AFC, Mitch, go ahead and take it.
In the AFC, the leader is still the Steelers, leading the North at 10-0, 1 seed overall. We saw the Chiefs' score was a little misleading against the Buccaneers, but the Chiefs look like they're the second best team in the AFC. My number 1 seed overall in the NFL. When we do our power rankings, it's no secret. You had the Raiders losing a big one, knocking them out of a playoff spot, which no shock there because they're overrated. But you look at the South, the Titans get the huge win against the Colts in Indy, making the Colts look bad. They went in there. Derrick Henry had over 140 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
Remarkable game by him. And the Browns are going to get him a lot this week. The Titans are going to force that ball. Bills getting the win over the Chargers last week. Dolphins staying in that hunt. But you look at the wild card, and there we are, number 5. Browns at 5, Dolphins 6, Colts 7. And right now we'd be in Buffalo. And I love that.
I love our chances against
matchup.
Buffalo.
Oh, there's no team I think we match up better with that we can beat on the road than the Buffalo Bills.
I agree. I like the Buffalo Bills as a football team in general, but I think that's the best matchup the Browns have for them, so I'm all for it. Just jumping over to the NFC real quick, man, what a logjam do we have at the bottom there? Within, 4 teams? There's one spot.
Yeah.
And this is going to really come down. Who do you think out of that bottom 4 is most likely to come out of that division?
Before this weekend, I would have said it was the Cardinals, no doubt, but they have struggled 2 weeks in a row. They went to New England. Now, granted, Bill Belichick knows how to game plan for quarterbacks defensively, and they game planned well to stop Kyler Murray. He had a really rough game. I want to say the Cardinals, but man, the Vikings are starting to come on. I don't think the Bears have enough on offense to stay. Their defense even looked suspect against Aaron Rodgers the other night, and the Niners are just too depleted. Nick Mullins at quarterback, really? I don't think there's a chance. I think it's going to.
They're getting healthier on the defensive side,
they absolutely are.
Which I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
As they just got Sherman back.
Mm-hmm. That was his first game since week 1.
Yes.
Comes up with an interception. They beat the Rams, who with that loss fell to first place in the NFC West. But I really think it's going to come down to the Cardinals, Vikings, and I'd say Niners over the Bears. But I think it's between Cardinals and Vikings.
I have this feeling for the Vikings. I don't know why I have it.
You've been saying it all year.
Yeah, and I don't know why exactly what it is, but I really like Zimmer as a head coach. And they were beat up like bad early on. They had upwards of 10 guys on the injured. It was really rough, and so they're getting healthier. And it looks like Dalvin Cook's not going to be missing time, so that's going to be fun to watch that. But from teams 5 to 10, I just feel like all of them have a really a fatal flaw. Like one thing that they do just so bad outside of the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are really young, and I think they need to grow a little more together. But I look at all those teams, and I'm just like, those are very flawed teams. Do you think any of those teams could pull off a Super Bowl appearance? Not a Super Bowl appearance, a Super Bowl winning team. Do you think any of those teams could win it?
Right now, no. I'll go off of what we've seen in weeks past, no. But if you're looking at what could happen, if you're looking at rosters, I think there's 2 teams you could pick out of there. But as you just asked that question, no.
No.
I don't think I know the Rams and the Buccaneers are in there, but they all have their flaws. And I don't trust them right now, knowing they'd have to go on the road for all their games to get to the Super Bowl.
I 100% agree, no doubt. Just jumping back to the AFC. At the bottom there, what's the percentage chance you would give the Patriots to make the playoffs, knowing the games they have left?
They're at 5-6, which is crazy because it's going to be hard for them. They need a lot of help.
They do.
Because in the NFC, the 5-6 teams, one game back, as we were just talking, one or 2
exactly.
games back. But if there's one thing I know, they haven't looked great this year, but you don't count out Bill Belichick. I think that, percentage-wise, I don't know what you'd give them because they need a lot of help, but Do I trust Bill Belichick to get this team right and finish above 500? Maybe go 9-7. Absolutely. I don't think 9-7 will get them in the playoffs, but we've seen crazier things happen, and I think the Patriots have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'll stand by that.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Got the Ravens at 8. That's gonna be really interesting. They have these 3 big games here coming up. They play the Steelers, that's moved to Wednesday now, and they still have to play the Browns. Mm-hmm. Do you think the Ravens managed to squeeze in?
I think there's a good chance they do. I think it ultimately depends on what happens in 2 of their next 3 games. Mm-hmm. Another thing that people aren't talking about, and we'll get into the Steelers-Ravens game later in the show and all the dilemmas going on with COVID, but I think there's a good chance they can get in. Mm-hmm. And I primarily do it because they did it last year. Harbaugh's their head coach. He's been there, done that. But they'll need some help too. But they do have the tiebreaker over the Colts, I believe. So yeah, that'll help them. So originally, yes, I have the Ravens still getting in.
Okay. Yeah, it's just going to be really crazy to see how it works out, because I think the Dolphins are going to end up winning 11 games. I think the Browns are going to have 11 games to get in.
11 guarantees them.
Yeah, 11 guarantees them. 10, it's going to be a lot of tiebreakers. Luckily, we own one against the Colts, mm-hmm, which is awesome. And then it goes by conference is the next tiebreaker. Right. So we just need to, keep winning. That's all we do. If we can go 3-2, we guarantees a spot. And honestly, it's going to guarantee us maybe the best matchup in the playoffs.
Right, and that's what we want, the best matchup for us.
Yeah. So those are your AFC and NFC standings. Now give me your 10 best teams starting at 10.
Starting at 10, we'll work our way up. Number 10, I have the Colts. I still think their defense is legit, even though they got gashed by Derrick Henry. He's a freak of nature.
He is.
He's a freak of nature, and we'll get to see that firsthand on Sunday. Hopefully not as bad as the Colts got to experience it, but I still like the Colts coming in at 10. Number 9 is the Rams. I still like the Rams defensively. Defensive Player of the Year in Aaron Donald. I still think that offense isn't clicking fully yet, but I do trust them. I actually am going to flip-flop this around. At 7, I'll put the Seahawks. Okay. They looked shaky last night against the Eagles, a really bad Eagles team. Although the cover, if you look at you want to talk about a bad bet last night, the backdoor cover by the Eagles.
Oh, I know.
6.5
There's been a lot of that lately. That's why I don't bet on games.
But I'm going to move them down. They didn't look impressive against a really bad football team. But like we said, you don't have to have style points. It's just win. But that means I'm going to put the Browns at 7 because I really believe they haven't played their best football yet.
Okay.
We're getting healthy, and I think that's the best part is Denzel Ward will come back healthy, well, hopefully before he gets hurt again. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett's back. Ronnie Harrison's out for 4 to 6 weeks, but we could get him back before the playoffs. Isn't that crazy to think before the playoffs? Like we're talking about getting players back before the playoffs.
Yeah, it is crazy.
But the Browns at 7. I have the Bills at 6 because I think they're just slightly better than us right now.
Okay.
Titans 5. Packers 4. Saints at 3.
Okay.
And then 1 and 2 are unchanged, but 2 is the Steelers. I think they're a really solid football team, but number 1's the Kansas City Chiefs. They're the best team in all of football. They have the best quarterback in all of football. They have a wide receiver who just casually went for 200-plus yards in the first quarter. And I think that they play down to their competition because they're disinterested in the regular season. And they know they can turn it on. We've seen it now in a few primetime games. They just turn it on quickly, go down the field, score, get a big stop. The Chiefs are the best team in football and number 1 in my rankings.
You're definitely right. A lot of similarities. In fact, me and you have one of our favorite teams locked in the same. So I got number 10, the Ravens. I just don't trust Lamar Jackson right now, and I don't trust that they're going to figure this out before the end of the season. One of the most talented people in the NFL, no doubt, but they're just going through some hard patches. They're going to have a hard enough time making the playoffs here. But I still have them at 10. Rams at 9. I really don't trust Jared Goff at all. Not at all. Man, and they're kind of screwed down there because his contract is another one like Wentz is just a garbage contract. And it's kind of funny that some of these guys can, play one good season and get these massive contracts at quarterback. It really shows you how important and it is to have a great quarterback that teams are willing to take such risks. So I think that's wild. Still have them at 9. Bills, I have at 8. I like the Bills a lot. Got the Browns at 7, which I can't believe that I have them at 7.
I know.
I have the Seahawks at 6, and honestly, the Packers at 5, Titans at 4, Saints at 3, Pittsburgh at 2, and KC at 1. Yeah, so I have almost an identical list with you.
We just have one team that is differ, and our positioning differs.
And it's funny because I was higher on the Colts than you were, and they dropped. My expectations for the Colts were a lot higher than yours, and that's why it dropped so low. But I mean, you can't, if you're supposed to be a team that can host a playoff game and you can't, and you get blown out by 24, and it should have been worse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust you anymore. You've lost all my trust because I already am not confident in Phillip Rivers because I can't, you can't make me unsee what I saw last year, like from Phillip Rivers. You know what I mean? I can't unsee that. So it was just so bad.
The only reason I took into account the game against Tennessee they just played.
Yeah.
But the reason I did move them up is they got blown out, no doubt. But they did go to Tennessee and beat Tennessee. So that means both teams have now won on the opposing team's turf.
Yeah.
I think it's big to get the road win, but part of me wonders if the Colts sleptwalk a little bit into the game, knowing we beat them in Tennessee. We know what to expect.
Yeah.
But for one of the first plays of the game, Ryan Tannehill, a little swing pass to Henry for 60-some yards. It's like that they got hit so fast, they didn't know what happened. 3 and out, and then Derrick Henry. And you want to talk about someone that's going to wear defense down?
Yeah.
Alone? We're not talking about offensive lines. Derrick Henry alone will wear a defense down, and that's what happened. But I totally get where you're coming from, why you dropped him out of the top 10.
Yeah.
But I do take into account that they did win in Tennessee already. And
Well, and their identity is they're a resilient team where they can get punched in the mouth and they can get back into the game and punch you in the mouth. And they did the complete opposite. They got punched in the mouth so many times, and it was like, okay, are you going to do anything about it now? Because now you're down 4 possessions.
Yeah.
Of 5 possessions now. Okay, how about now? And they didn't have that resiliency that they normally have. And if you don't have that, I mean, they're talented, but they're not like that talented that they can overcome that and still do that.
No way. And
so, not with an aging quarterback.
No, they did a complete opposite of what they did against the Packers.
Yes.
That was a complete 180, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting and a lot of fun knowing that our team is in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, we got a chance.
We have a chance.
One of those teams that's in a playoff hunt is the Oakland, and I'll never say Las Vegas, Raiders. And you are a huge Raiders fan.
Oh.
Huge Raiders fan.
Am I?
How do you feel about that?
They are an extremely overrated football team. They're the streakiest team in all the NFL. And anybody that thinks they're a legit playoff contender because they beat the Chiefs, check yourself. That's all I can say. I mean, 6-5, they just lost to one of the worst teams in football. Mm-hmm. Okay? Ranking 23rd in defense. Jordan, we went over this before the show. This team, defensively, is terrible. The point totals they're giving up is crazy. I mean, let's just go through how many points they've given up to their opponents week by week. 30, 24, 36, 30, 32, 45, 6, 26, 12, 35, and 43.
That's unbelievable.
That's ridiculous. And for people to think that they're going to be in a playoff hunt, no. The only reason they're winning some of these games is because their offense is a lot better than what it's been. I'm not going to say it's a great offense, but they're doing it against some bad teams. They did it in week 2 against a depleted New Orleans team.
Yeah.
They did it at Carolina, who was a team in week 1, new head coach, new system. Sure. They lost to New England. Las Vegas or Oakland, historically, is not a team that travels well over to the East Coast.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it seems like we have a lot of Raiders fans in this chat too. So that you're saying this, we got a lot of.
Well, they can stay a fan of a team that's not going to make the playoffs this year because they're led by a very overrated quarterback who last week you said that.
I was praising Derek
Carr
last week, and then he ran into a brick wall while driving a Volkswagen.
So 22 of 34 against
rough.
the Falcons.
The Falcons.
The Atlanta Falcons, who
Falcons.
we've seen struggle this year.
We've seen the Falcons already fire their coach. They've struggled. And now how are they winning games now? They fire their coach and they're winning all these games.
The Falcons didn't even know how to recover an onside kick.
I know, just like the Texans. They lost all those games and then all of a sudden they fire their coach. And it's like, oh, Romeo Crennel. Like, what? No, Romeo Crennel's not a good
not
coach.
Romeo Crennel.
I know, that's my point though, but it's just unbelievable.
Yep.
Like what's happening.
Sunday, 64% completion percentage.
Yeah.
No touchdowns. Well, he did throw a touchdown to the other team. Stared a guy down right in the middle of the field, pick 6, fumbled 3 times. Derek Carr has fumbled 11 times this season. That would be first in the NFL if Carson Wentz could just hold on to a football too, but he can't.
He's struggling.
He's lost 8 fumbles of those 11. He's only thrown 4 picks, but you look at the teams they're doing it against. Derek Carr is not a top 10 quarterback, and the Raiders aren't a playoff team. And it's as simple as that. The Raiders are going to falter. The Raiders are built to play with teams in their division.
Yeah.
That's why they can compete with Kansas City.
That's beautifully said.
They structure their team to play against Kansas City and the Chargers and the Broncos. But you play 9 games out of your division then. And you're starting to see right here that
I think they're frauds. I think they're
frauds.
I think they're a fake tough team, like a team that acts real tough, but they're not really that tough. Mm-hmm. And they got pushed around by the Falcons.
I know. And
the Falcons, the team that they were like, well, hey, should we unload our best wide receiver and our starting quarterback? Like, that's how rough the Falcons were doing. That's how rough they were doing.
I mean, it was terrible.
No excuse.
For the Falcons. But there is one thing I want to ask you. As Browns fans, we are known for every year, no matter what year it is, and except for we were 0-16. The Browns always beat a team they have no business beating. And lose to a team they have no business losing to, which personally I thought it was going to be Jacksonville this past week. And there's still 2 opportunities on there to lose to 2 bad football teams, but it seems Stefanski knows what he's doing. Was our bad loss against the Raiders? Was that it?
Yeah.
Was that our bad loss of the season?
Yeah, our bad loss was a game in which Jarvis Landry caught a touchdown on the left side. They said, okay, he didn't have complete control, which to you I say correct. When I saw the replay, I was like, yeah, okay, he didn't catch it. Well, the Raiders had a touchdown where the ball was on the ground, and the ref said, well, he had control of it as he pinned the ball to the ground. That's not control.
That's not
control. Like, if a ball if you hit the ball to the outfield in baseball and you go to catch the ball and it at any point is on the ground, it is a drop. The same thing is in football and in every sport. When has this changed? So you take that away. That game was 16-6. It's a touchdown. The Browns needed a touchdown. They actually had a chance to kick a field goal at one point, but they didn't. There was just some big swings, and there always seems to be big swings in Raiders games, and it's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. And the other thing, going back to that week, and I'm not going to harp a lot on it, but that was Stefanski's first game in that type of environment. Keep in mind, he's been a coordinator in a dome primarily.
Yeah.
He's played in this type of weather before, but right away they deferred to the second half, which put them in the wrong end zone to kick in. If you've ever heard Phil Dawson talk, he told you there's one end zone you want to kick in the second and fourth quarter. The Browns were going the opposite way.
Yeah.
And this isn't a team that should be deferring. This is a team that needs to get the ball first and run the ball.
For sure.
And I think you incorporate that, and the Browns lost to their bad team for the year. And let's hope it stays that way.
If your worst loss is to a 6-5 team, you're doing all right. You're doing all right because the Browns typically lose to teams that are in their draft order, like right beside them. So that's big. The team that I have a ton of respect for, and it's unbelievable because there's so much about their football team that is average, and they are average in about every statistic across the board, except a couple. And the couple that they're, top of the line in are statistics that are so important that put them over the top. That team is the Buffalo Bills, and what I'm talking about is how effective they are on third downs. One of the most important metrics in football when you're evaluating any team is how good are you on third down? Can your O-line give you time to push the ball down the field? Mm-hmm. Do you have a good quarterback? And do you have the right signal caller? And the Buffalo Bills are second in the NFL on third downs. The only team better than them, the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you can just prolong drives and convert on third down, that puts you in a position to where you can not only, win playoff games, but like potentially win a Super Bowl. That's a huge statistic, because it just gives you more opportunities to score. And they were at 37% last year, and at this year they're 49%. So that's a huge deal. And they also have, one of the things they do is they dictate the tempo of the game. And so you'll see overall, if you look at every team's and the amount of drives in each game a team has, they have some of the least drives for any team, which means that which makes sense because they're so good on third down, and that their drives are longer. And I think that really works for them. Another team that has a similar situation is the New England Patriots, who've done that the last 20 years, and I think that it's one of the most important things you can do is dictate the tempo of a game.
Absolutely.
So,
and it worked for the Patriots for all those years. And
yeah.
Right now the Bills are 8-3.
Even though I think that's our best chance to win a playoff game as a
agree.
Browns fan, I also think that that's a team that I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised. That's the type of team to me that could beat a Patrick Mahomes team.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's switch it up and let's go ahead and jump into some college basketball.
I like college hoops.
You like college hoops?
I do like college hoops.
Yeah.
We'll start with top 25
Yes.
released yesterday.
Yeah.
Number 1 and 2 staying the same.
Yeah. Same.
Big Ten having 4 teams in the top 10.
4 in the top 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People usually just say top 10 in general when you're looking at these teams, but yeah, top 8.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan State at 3, 4, 5, and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Ohio State, Rutgers coming in at 23, 24, giving them 6 teams in the top 25. We had 7 last week, but of course that team up north couldn't do anything well enough.
Yeah.
They don't do anything good up there.
No, they don't.
They're useless. There's no reason for that school in this conference. I don't know. But give me, do you agree with the top 10? Do you like Gonzaga at 1, followed by Baylor at 2, who received a couple first place votes?
Yeah.
You do?
I do. I don't think that those Big Ten teams are overrated at all, and I think you're really going to see that coming up here. And I don't think you're going to see them lose many out of conference games at all. I think all those Big Ten teams will be almost undefeated until conference play.
Yeah,
I think the Big Ten's that good.
I agree. I think the Big Ten's the best conference in college basketball, and you can't even argue that. You have the preseason player of the year favorite in Iowa and Luka Garza.
Which is weird. Like when you think of Iowa being good at basketball.
Yeah, it's not something I remember in my lifetime.
No, never.
Especially them being the top ranked Big Ten team. But you see familiar faces then in Wisconsin and Michigan State, always a common team. And Ohio State's creeping back in there after a couple down years under Holtman now. They're at 23. They start out 2-0. And I was looking ahead at their schedule. They still play North Carolina and Notre Dame. And then you brought it to my attention. They play 4 of the top 5 teams in the Big Ten right now in a span of how many days? Did you say? Or weeks?
In a span of 5 games,
they'll
play 3, 4, 5, and 8 in the country. In 5 games, in the game that's not a ranked game is the one sandwich. So they'll play 2 top 8 teams, break 2 top 8 teams. So that team that's sandwiched in the middle might get a win.
Yeah.
They might be pretty beat up.
And that's the thing. The schedule this year is more condensed now. Not as many games as years past because of everything going on. But
yeah,
we're going to find out quickly if Ohio State is the 5th best team or maybe better in the Big Ten.
Oh, for sure.
Who they play. I think this could be a case, though, where the Big Ten's the best conference, but I think all the teams are going to beat up on each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it might not be 4 in the top 8 anymore here shortly. They could be all spread out through the top 25.
Well, unless they do it like they do it in the SEC where you just trade ranks in football.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When the number 2 team beats the number 3 team, and if you're the number 3 team to beat the number 2 team, you just flip ranks.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. So if they do it like they do SEC football, maybe it is because there's a lot of teams at the bottom, Rutgers and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know who else at the bottom? Kentucky.
Kentucky.
who fell the furthest this week, 10 spots in the rankings.
What a bad loss.
Losing to unranked Richmond, who's now ranked. Richmond jumped up
Lost to the Spiders.
to 19. Yeah, they lost to them. Another team that struggled this week was Villanova. They dropped 9 spots. So Villanova dropping 9, Kentucky dropping 10. Those were the 2 teams that fell the furthest. And then you had Houston jumping 7. You had Virginia Tech jumping 10 spots, and then Richmond jumping 7.
Yeah.
So a lot of moving parts already. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens as the season goes on, what teams get into grooves. But I'm just happy college basketball's back. I'm praying that March Madness happens this year. It's on pace and set in stone in Indianapolis. All the teams will be there, but we know what happened last year, and hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. It would be awful if football gets to have their championships and then basketball for a second year in a row doesn't get to have theirs. It would suck because it'd be different if like one happened to football and one happened to basketball.
Right.
But the fact that football could get another one in and then basketball would just have to cancel their stuff and wait till next year again would be ridiculous. So, but we're going to see because we're going to have a new administration. So we'll find out, and because things could change and the shutdowns could be really fierce. Well, football, how storybook would it be for the Browns to make the playoffs and then for them to say, hey, guys, we're shut down. You can't do anything for 5 weeks. I could see that happening.
Oh, I'd cry. I'd be so hurt.
Well, how Browns would that be?
Right. That's true. How Browns would that be? Let's hope that doesn't happen. But do you have one team in college basketball right now that maybe you think's ranked too high, too low, or isn't ranked that you like?
I mean, Duke, in my mind, should always be one. I mean, come on. Are you serious?
I don't know why I asked that. I should know better.
Oh, my God. The house that built J.J. Redick. Do you understand who that is to me?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand who Sheldon Williams? Do you understand what the landlord is to me? The landlord is my stepfather, okay?
Oh.
Sheldon Williams. He's my stepfather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Duke should always be number 1. They'll figure it out. They got the best coach. Cameron Crazies.
At 6 right now, at a very big 1-0.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder who they beat. They probably scheduled,
Our Lady of the Elms.
Yeah, probably. I was going to say that or the Citadel. I don't know if the Citadel has a basketball team, but
yeah.
I like Liberty.
You like Liberty,
Not ranked that I see.
Okay.
Had a big win against South Carolina over the weekend. The Liberty Flames, young team. Actually, Mark Price's son.
Did they beat the guys? Oh, if they would have beat the girls, it would have meant something to me. But they beat the guys.
They beat the guys. I mean,
okay.
We're not there yet. That's the next challenge is the girls. But
yeah.
Mark Price's son's on the team. I think he's more of a GPA guy, but every team needs those kind of guys.
Yeah.
That's why I like Liberty. They're young. Not a lot of recruits that are big name. I think a 3-star recruit is the highest they've had in their school history.
Liberty, huh?
So the Liberty Flames, who, by the way, hot in football too.
The Flames. What an awful an awful mascot. The Flames. That's terrible. Oh man, I love Liberty like the name.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
that.
I like the school.
That's Max. But just the Flames. How'd that happen?
I mean, the Flames play the Chanticleers this weekend in college football.
Yeah, I get it.
Liberty's my sleeper team right now.
Okay, Liberty. Mm-hmm. I don't have a sleeper team yet. I can't give you my sleeper team. All I know is who's the best team. That's all I have. Oh, also, a Canton boy is leading Ohio State men's basketball right now in rebounds per game. Kyle Young. Yeah, he's averaging 8 rebounds a game. Give it a little shout out.
He's scrappy, man. He makes all the plays that nobody else wants to.
Yeah, that's
on
Canton
the floor.
boy.
That's Jackson boy. It's a Federal League player right there.
Yeah. That's what they do in the Federal League. They lock it down. Box up. Every time.
No, good to see him healthy right now. Hopefully he stays healthy this year and, maybe have an appearance on here. We'll have to see. Stay tuned for that one.
Yeah.
But there have been talks.
So, I don't know if you heard, but there was a boxing match that I watched this weekend illegally somewhere on the internet. I don't know where I watched it, but I found it. Yeah, I didn't pay $50 for it. Did you know there was a boxing match this weekend?
I did know there was a boxing match this weekend.
Yeah. Now, people were really excited for the Mike Tyson
I don't know why they were so excited for that. There was a better fight that happened.
There was a better fight that happened.
A way better fight.
And were you able to watch that?
I didn't watch it live. I got to see the replay, all the 5 seconds of Nate Robinson getting hit and hitting the ground. Which, just, my goodness. Nate Robinson talking.
He got smacked. Smacked.
I mean,
I thought he died. It was the
it
only
was-
time I've ever seen somebody get knocked out, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm laughing. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh god, is he dead? Because they tried to pick him up way too soon, and were like dragging his body across the, it was weird.
what was better?
It was
How
weird.
fast he hit the ground or Snoop Dogg on the call?
Oh man. Snoop Dogg was fun, but the other guys were so corny.
Yeah.
Like the one white guy they put on there was just so corny.
And-
They put like that one guy, like I feel like it's the white guy that Dave Chappelle plays when he's like
Yes.
talking about it. That's
one that-
how I feel.
Tried to set him up for the drop it like it's hot with that. He tried to throw an oop to Snoop Dogg and said something about dropping like it's hot, and then
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg didn't even reply to it.
Yeah,
That guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was-
because he's just real corny, and so it's I honestly thought he was funnier than Snoop.
But it was too corny for you to.
No, I was laughing the whole time.
I
So
mean,
I'm like, this guy's a fool. Like,
When I rewatched it the next day,
I love Snoop. Don't get me wrong, but that guy sounded ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys can rewatch this. It's on YouTube somewhere.
it's on every social media platform. Just type in Nate Robinson, and
You'll
forget that he ever won a dunk contest, 2 dunk contests, I believe.
Yeah, he
It was just
played for the New York Knicks and dunked over.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Played for the Bulls too. I mean, little guy, not a boxer. Hey, it takes a lot to get in the ring. I'll give him that. I
It
mean,
does.
I'm not getting in the ring.
Yeah.
When I found out he only made $660,000,
Yeah,
I need at least $1 million to get knocked out.
but you have to remember on the other side of that, he thought he didn't have enough respect for the sport of boxing. So it may take a lot to get into the ring, and a lot of what it takes is you being a moron, because he had no respect for boxing, and now he understands what boxing really is. It's an art and craft that
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have to
absolutely.
practice. You just can't. Oh, I'm athletic. A street fight,
a lot different.
I want to know the moment that he's had in his life that made him so confident that, hey man, I'll fight you in a boxing. Really? Why? What? At what moment did he beat somebody up? Once in a sophomore year of high school, and he thinks he's a boxer now? Unbelievable.
I don't know. The only thing I do know is I need to address one of the comments out there, and a question we need to answer is Perry Ellis still eligible to play at Kansas? Rumors are he's back for his 23rd year. You remember Perry Ellis?
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably still there. So Shane, I haven't watched Kansas yet. I don't know if you have. I know they played late. I go to bed early, but we'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
To see if Perry Ellis is still there, because that's a trending story right now.
Yeah.
But now back to Nate Robinson. I'm sorry, I just had to address that.
No,
'cause
it's okay.
That's a big topic. Perry Ellis, going for the longest tenured college basketball player in the history of
Yeah.
college basketball. Curious to see if he has a walker yet, or if he can still limp up and down the court. But we'll see. I'll have to watch Kansas soon.
You can only watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
How else would you find out? I understand.
Perry Ellis usually does it too. He usually doesn't play a whole lot.
No.
He usually just watches.
Not at all.
It's like a garbage man. He goes in there
A
and
garbage man?
Garbage time. He goes in there and it's just like, oh my god, who let this dad on the floor?
Well, we're gonna find out.
We will find out.
We'll find out. Anything else to go through in that? I don't think so.
No, not that. But I think it's time for the headlines.
You mean the headlines?
The headlines.
Okay.
I think it's time for the headlines.
Run through it.
All right, let's go. First things first, Ohio State football resumes practice today. Ryan Day has already been confirmed out if they do play Michigan State this weekend.
I did not know that.
Are you worried about this weekend with no Ryan Day if they play? And 2, are you worried about the season in general for Ohio State?
Definitely the season. I'm definitely worried about the season. I'm not worried about not having Ryan Day for Michigan State. Michigan State sucks.
But they beat Michigan. Oh, wait, Michigan sucks.
Yeah,
too.
Michigan
Michigan's
sucks too.
terrible.
Michigan State is not a good football team. At all. So we did watch them win a game this past week. I watched them. Actually, they played pretty well against Northwestern. However, Northwestern is just not a really athletic team. They just do things the right way. They're in the right positions at the right time. They're not going to line up with you across the field from you, and you're not going to notice a Northwestern player better than your player at any position.
Northwestern just tries to outsmart you.
Yeah, they're not going to overwhelm you. They're just really disciplined,
Yep.
and that's what you get in Pat Fitzgerald. And so that was a good win for Michigan State.
absolutely.
But they're still not if we're gonna, I bet you the line will be 30 on the game.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
so
can see that.
if that tells
Depending
you,
if Ohio State has any big name players out, which I don't think they do, but until we can get that confirmed, we don't know. But I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried about the season. Michigan apparently has COVID, which do they, or does Jim Harbaugh just not want his ass kicked in again?
Oh.
I think it's more that. I think
for sure.
Jim Harbaugh is just a little bitch, and he doesn't want to get his ass kicked.
Now would be a great time to say I have COVID if I'm Michigan. Like,
Yeah.
Now would be a great time.
Why would you want to get embarrassed again? I mean, after watching these past weeks, Ohio State would put up 80 on that team.
They're really bad.
They're terrible.
Yeah, it's definitely the worst team I've seen that I can remember at Michigan. I know that there's been way worse teams, but that I can remember watching.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, Will Fuller, wide receiver for the Houston Texans, suspended 6 games for taking a banned substance. Of course, he comes out and says he had no idea.
Oh, that pissed me off when I saw
do
his
you believe it?
when I saw his apology on Instagram. It wasn't that I didn't believe it or not. Even if I did believe it, like, it's your fault. You can't rely on something like that you're taking from somebody else. Like, it's not you. Like, have some personal accountability. He had 0 personal accountability, tried to push it on somebody else, just saying, oh, they misuse my trust. No, they misuse your trust. Like, it's your job to research what you can put in your body for the NFL and their banned substances or not. Read labels, bro. That's all you have to do. This wasn't a real complicated one. I don't want to give him any more time on my end. Go ahead.
It's hard for me to figure out if you can believe when people say, "Oh, I didn't know." Blah,
I
blah,
hate
blah.
the it's just,
no.
I smell bullshit a mile away.
You're
Bullshit.
taking something that has any questions to begin with. It's like, come on, dude, come on. Either way, he's done for the season for the Texans. He had scored every week for the past 7 or 8 weeks, I believe. He was one of the top producing wide receivers in all of football.
Yeah,
week in, week out. So
he has to be. They have no DeAndre Hopkins. You have no choice. You
right,
sink or swim, son.
So now the Texans are about to lose another playmaker and not really have nobody but Deshaun Watson. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Sarah Fuller, who over the weekend became the first female kicker in a Power 5 conference, is now set to kick again for Vanderbilt this weekend, who is winless. Will she make a field goal?
No.
Okay.
Kicking is extremely hard.
Oh, I agree.
It would be like Nate Robinson not respecting boxing is how the lack of respect the entire general public has for kickers. We have no idea how hard it is to kick a football.
I mean, I struggle at Madden kicking a football. That's a video
Exactly.
game. I mean, ask Shane. Shane's listening right now. I'm the king of missing extra points and field goals. It's hard.
It's extremely hard. And she just started kicking. So it's it's not that she's a female. Yeah. I think a lot of females can do pretty much everything men can do. Maybe not the same volume of like weights and stuff, but like women are unbelievable. Like, it is incredibly believable to think of some of these women's soccer players being tremendous kickers. But she hasn't kicked for that long. Right. You just don't transition like that.
Well, kicking a soccer ball is a lot different than kicking a football.
She's on the same level as I would put a high school boy, like a good high school boy probably, who practices just that every day, who's just not a soccer player, but an actual kicker. She's a great athlete,
great soccer player, great athlete. Not taking anything away from her.
Awesome story. I think that's dope that she said that.
First woman to do it in a Power 5 conference. That's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely props. I'm not hating on her. I'm just saying,
there's some guys
that we need to understand that there's a reason kickers get paid what they get paid.
Oh yeah.
And why they're so important is because it is a very hard job. Absolutely. A lot harder than people think.
Unless your name's Young Ho Koo for the Falcons. 21 fantasy points this past week.
That's a lot of points.
That's beside the fact. Next, the Cavs, according to Shams on Twitter, have had trade talks with the Rockets for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Oh, 100%.
You acquire Russell Westbrook?
Well, if you want me to watch the games, yeah. Like, are you serious? How else? Like, no. What, am I supposed to watch Darius Garland?
I think that's what they want you to do.
No disrespect to the Cavs back here. But, that was in 2016. You have to just like you have to update like software on your phone and on the computer. You have to update like you can't just suck every year. Like, you have to get better. You have to make moves. Go get a walking triple-double. This man averaged a triple-double 3 years straight. Go get him. Who do you have to give up? I don't care. Give up your son. Like, make the deal happen.
I'm all for it. They need to put people in the stands. To me, if you're putting him and Kevin Love in the same team, that's a team that could vie for a 6, 7, 8 spot in the East.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they're still going to be entertaining.
Oh my gosh.
So entertaining.
Russell Westbrook is one of the most entertaining.
Oh.
It'll be more entertaining by just what he wears to the games and to press conferences in that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would rather watch that than watch the Cavs on the court right now. Just it's not a team that's been being constructed. I feel like I'm watching Major League the movie where they're purposely trying to put a bad team together because they don't want to win.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like I'm watching. Like, it's unbelievable.
A lot of draft picks too they could include in that trade, but we'll have to stay and see. Another one from the NBA. This is from Shams Day. The Warriors called the Rockets before Klay Thompson got hurt, trying to inquire about acquiring James Harden for a three-headed monster of Steph Curry, James Harden, and Klay Thompson. What would your thoughts have been had that happened?
Oh, they would have won. They would have been better than the Lakers. I would have taken that. I trust Klay more than I trust Steph and Harden, and I trust the other two at an extremely high level. So I would have been good. I mean, I think that's better than the Lakers team.
I would probably have to agree with that.
For more win, like if they stay healthy.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Because I think Steph and Klay together is a better it is an iconic duo. It especially for playoff basketball.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen it in 2 years. People forget.
Yeah.
People forget.
I was really torn up about that. I was really upset. That sucks.
That would have been crazy. And part of me wonders, I mean, the NBA, that was when David Stern was there. Didn't let Chris Paul go to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Would the NBA have let that happen? We'll never know because Klay Thompson is out for the season.
It's funny that they denied that Chris Paul to the Lakers when they did because that wasn't even a dominant team.
Compared to some of these other teams we see in trades. Yeah,
it's not even close. So the fact that he didn't let that happen was ridiculous.
Jordan,
made no sense.
On to baseball now. Randy Arozarena, who's been in our headlines the past 2 shows.
Yes.
No news on him. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew he's okay. He's still out of jail as far as we know.
Okay.
Tampa Bay Rays fans can rejoice. Apparently he's okay. Just Randy Arozarena. Shout out to you. The MLB, according to Sports Business Journal, put a request in from sponsors for proposals for jersey patches and helmet decals for advertisements. Is this not saying how hurt the MLB is for money after this past season? And is it a good idea?
Let's do it. I think it'd be a great idea.
I'm all for it. I mean, on the sleeve,
yeah,
and then on the side of the helmet, the back of the helmet.
I think it'd be a great idea. I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. But does this not say how much money they lost? I mean, the Indians right now, we're hearing, can't even tender Austin Hedges, who you probably don't even know who that is. He's a backup catcher that's supposed to be making $3 million this year. That's how tight the Indians' pockets are. So the MLB, all around, is hurting for money.
Well, and they should be hurting for money because when they bargained before this season, they bargained like children's.
Yeah.
Like children. Jesus, who are the children's? It was unbelievable that the commissioner, in his lack of, giving, he didn't want to budge on anything. And I can't think who's the captain of the Players Association. What's his name?
For
baseball. I can't think of his name,
Who is it?
but they couldn't get a deal in place, and they kept jostling with each other, and that's what you get. And so now baseball is put in that position to do that, which is not something they want to do at all. They're going to lose they must be bleeding money.
No, absolutely.
And this is why in the NFL there is going to have to be something like a federal mandate to stop games. That will be the only thing before they stop games. They're letting 15 people have COVID on your team in a week or something, and you can still have a game. Like, the Ravens are still going to play tomorrow. Like, they're still going to play, and they had 18 people on the COVID list. 18. Like, it's a different thing. The NFL is willing to negotiate with you because they don't want to lose more than they're already going to lose. So let's negotiate up front. I already know I'm going to lose money. Let's figure out how we can make this work because I don't want to lose any more money by, just not budging at all. And so baseball is getting Fred, what's his name? The commissioner.
Rob Manfred.
Rob Manfred, yeah. That's
terrible. He's the worst. He's
asshole's name.
I could sit here and
we had to wait for baseball.
I could have an hour conversation about why he is the worst commissioner ever.
He's bad.
And, I mean, he's terrible. 2 things left. One, there's only been a history of 3 players in the NBA to sign multiple $30 million contracts. Do you know those 3 players?
Say that again. How many?
3 players in the history of the NBA have signed multiple $30 million a year contracts. Do you know those 3 players?
Oh, man. Whew.
2 should be pretty easy.
I'm going to say LeBron.
Yes.
2 more. 30 million. And there's 3 players.
You got one.
Oh man, LeBron's so old. That's why I'm gonna have to look for guys in my late mid 30s. LeBron, Kevin Love.
Nope. You had the first name right. Kevin
Durant.
Yep.
Oh my God, Jordan.
Keep in mind because he just signed with
Yeah,
Brooklyn.
I completely forgot about Kevin Durant. I forgot he played basketball. Steph?
Nope.
Who?
We're gonna give a nice cowbell ring to Gordon Hayward's agent.
No way.
Gordon Hayward is the third player who has signed
That's
multiple
why you brought that in
$30
here.
million contracts. Gordon Hayward's agent
That's
is
why you brought
a
that.
man of the year. $30 million multiple times for Gordon Hayward. Crazy. Absolutely
man.
crazy.
Well, that's why I was saying what I said about Gordon Hayward last week. He's so overrated. In Boston, probably they're throwing a party every night up in Boston, but it was like a party in the day, party in the night.
Yep.
Like we're going all day kind of party. Yeah, I don't like Gordon Hayward at all. Wow.
I knew you'd like that. And
that makes me want to throw up.
Wrapping it up, today is National Pie Day. Happy National Pie Day. I don't know what kind.
Well, isn't it Rosa Parks Day too?
National Rosa Parks Day as well.
Happy Day. Rosa Parks.
Shout out to Rosa.
I said happy. Yeah. I can't speak. I'm saying children's.
But
No,
either way.
children's is what I said. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, that's all I got for this afternoon's headlines.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Cover Your Balls. I'm Jordan McKelly.
I'm Mitch Balla.
And this was another episode. This is our 4th episode. We're going strong.
Who has bigger balls?
Oh, no. Forgot the last segment. Hold on here. Whoa. I'm sorry. Give me a second. This is pretty important. Give me 10 more seconds.
Who has bigger balls?
Who has bigger balls? That's the segment I forgot. Who has bigger balls?
So, from what we agreed on, who has bigger balls? Nate Robinson for getting to the ring with Jake Paul, or the NFL for making the Denver Broncos play a game with no active quarterbacks on their roster, but postponing the Steelers and Ravens game twice in order to benefit the Ravens and get players healthy? Jordan, who has bigger balls?
Oh, definitely the NFL for making the Denver Broncos play with no quarterbacks. Not only is that funny, but that was supposed to be their 4th quarterback. They already had 1 quarterback out, and then initially, so they have 4 quarterbacks on their roster. Then they had all 3 that were together. Mm-hmm. So they had 4 quarterbacks out. That's not even the most bizarre thing to me about that. The fact that they put in a request to have a coach be their quarterback for the game. Your coach doesn't even play football.
And the NFL denied it.
And that's how mad the NFL was at the Denver Broncos that they wouldn't even let a team throw out their coach to die. That's how much the NFL was sticking it to him. And they're helping out the Ravens that much. They definitely had bigger balls than Nate Robinson.
Completely agree. Because like I said,
not even close.
It took a lot for Nate Robinson to get in that ring. Maybe he knew it was coming. Maybe he didn't. Either way, it was an iconic moment. He's a meme now. We're over that. But you literally had the same situation. And you're helping one team and not helping the other team? Yeah. It just...
And you heard, both of their running backs are going to be allowed to play now for the Ravens. So they were supposed to be without J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram. Which, honestly, to me, personally... I think that is worse not having those two than it is having Lamar Jackson.
I agree. Completely
because you can still run the football, and you can use a serviceable quarterback, and Robert Griffin III is a serviceable quarterback.
And now, not to mention, the Ravens, according to Ian Rappaport, activated 4 more players today, including now backup quarterback Trace McSorley, on top with Brandon Williams, Tavon Young, and Khalil Dorsey. So the Ravens are getting healthier and benefiting from getting their games switched around twice. I mean, the Steelers are hot. They're livid.
And they should be upset.
I would be upset.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy to know.
I feel like the Ravens are going to win tomorrow.
Oh,
that's how I feel. I feel like you just put so much more juju out there for the Ravens, like into the world. I feel like everything is going the Ravens' way, and I feel like they're going to win that game, which is going to be terrible for us. It's going to be awful because that makes that head-to-head game that we play with them that much bigger, because then they'll have beaten us twice, and they'll have the same record as us possibly, and then they'll have the tiebreaker. That'd be huge.
That'd be huge.
So
it would be huge.
They're doing all this for the Ravens, and it might cost the Browns.
I think the Steelers are going to be pissed off beyond belief. I mean, you've seen their players go tweeting at the NFL directly, not just subtweets, tagging the NFL.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers are going to come out there tomorrow and be headhunters almost.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think the Ravens will win because of RG3 being at quarterback, but it's not like he's Garrett Gilbert. And by the way,
Garrett Gilbert.
did you see, this is somebody else we should have talked about who has bigger balls, Jerry Jones saying he doesn't feel bad for the Broncos because of the situation the Cowboys have been in this year and who they've had to play at quarterback?
Yeah.
There's a time where you know that your time at your job's up. And Jerry Jones, you're old as shit. Give it up, man. Just give it up.
Well,
It's ridiculous for him to even say that. I mean, you knew you weren't going to have Dak Prescott, a week before. You knew Andy Dalton was hurt and you had to go get another quarterback. The Broncos literally found out during walkthroughs on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a much bigger. It's not even on the same level. I agree.
It's crazy.
Well, that's just what Jerry Jones does. Like, he just can't get out of his own way, and he says dumb shit. And he talks a lot. So when you talk as much as Jerry does in the public, and you're that old, sometimes words are going to slip by your mouth, and you can't catch them.
It's happened a lot to him this year.
Yeah, and he said a lot of ignorant stuff that you just don't see an owner say in the public eye. And I just don't know how, if I'm a player on that team, how I really feel about that in the locker room of my owner, because like he puts players that he employs on blast.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when he's on radio shows. When's the last time? What job? Imagine working for somebody where you're getting bashed to all your coworkers. Like the owner's talking shit about you and everybody can hear it. Imagine that. No organization would be successful.
No.
None. Like, I'm talking Wendy's. Wendy's is not successful if people in Wendy's are doing that, okay? All right?
Yeah,
if the guy I see on the signs at Wendy's, if that old man is doing that, okay, I'm telling you right now.
That was a little girl.
No, it's a guy. It's the old guy. He has white hair and he has the glasses at Wendy's. If that's my owner, and my owner's doing that to me, I'm telling you what, I'm not going into work. So I don't think they're going to be able to make it work.
I don't either. The whole COVID thing is, we could talk about that daily. But yes, Shane, it's because they weren't following protocol, but at the same time, the Baltimore Ravens strength coach is on camera not following protocol either. So they have proof of him coming to the facility on days he didn't feel well.
Yeah.
Not wearing his mask when he was training the players on numerous occasions.
And then they didn't tell us for days who it was.
Exactly. And he's
that's
still employed.
And that's why the Steelers were so upset about it, because they didn't put a face and a name to whatever stopped them from playing that game. And that's why the Steelers are upset. And yeah, I can't believe he has a job still.
I can't believe that either. And I mean,
these players get fined for ridiculous stuff, and this guy still has a job. And I'm not advocating somebody get firing, especially during a pandemic. But like COVID is still COVID. Like, even if you don't believe it, like, you need to like at least respect the guidelines you put into place.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a respect thing, and he didn't want to respect people. So I don't know, him. It's a rough situation.
Let alone, they say if you don't feel well, stay home.
Yeah,
so he still came and then didn't wear a mask, and then
that's what they
now
said.
Here we are, and now we get afternoon football tomorrow at 3:40 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a blowout. I'm looking forward to watching.
It's gonna be fun to watch. We're watching it.
We are watching that, but that's it for me.
Yeah, that's it for me. Hey guys, any questions? If you want to shoot them in the chat real quick, if you have any questions regarding any of the NFL, who's gonna make the playoffs, college basketball, or if you want to talk about Jake Paul knocking out Nate Robinson, we can do that too.
We could even talk about Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. going
the distance
for a draw
in 2-minute rounds, but they still did go the distance. I respect that.
I see we have a Josh Allen is elite from the Buffalo Bills stand. Do you agree that Josh Allen's elite?
I do not believe Josh Allen's elite. No, I don't. Not yet. He has to be a little more precise with the football for me. His big knock coming out of Wyoming was he's not accurate with the football.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's changed a little. He's better, but he's not there yet. Buffalo Bills Stan. Yeah, I don't know if you missed the segment earlier on, but I'm really high on the Bills. You guys are great on third down. I do like Josh Allen as a franchise quarterback.
Oh, absolutely.
And Sean McDermott is a monster. I think he's a great coach. And I think you guys could actually make a push to make it to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if you did. At all.
I agree.
What do you got, Mitch? I don't
agree.
think anybody's asking any questions.
I didn't know if there was anything up in the chat from earlier that we missed, but I wanted to make sure we addressed the Buffalo Bills stand there. Mitch Farnsworth was letting us know the line for this weekend's Ohio State game was 24.
24. Okay.
24, which is
That's actually better than what I thought it would be because they had the Indiana game at 21.
21.
And man,
20 and a half. 20 and a
20
half.
and a half. So only 4 different. Yeah, I don't like that line. But I mean, if the Buckeyes haven't been able to practice,
It is true.
I
mean, they looked rusty at some point. I mean, Justin
yeah.
Fields looked rusty against
I will
Indiana.
say this: I live about 0.7 miles away from their practice facility, and there hasn't been as many cars there the last 10 days. I mean, I drive past it multiple times a day. We have a question coming in from Brandon right now. Let's go ahead and take that call. We're going to put it on speakerphone.
And hello, Brandon. Thank you for calling in to cover your balls.
Hey, Mitchell, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Brandon?
I'm good. So I got a question for you, and I know you're going to love this. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. I know you love the Browns. You know I love the Browns as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your favorite quarterback is Deshaun Watson. What do you think the Browns' record would be with Deshaun Watson at the helm?
That's a good question, Brandon.
You can answer that question, too. I'd love to hear what you think.
Oh,
All right.
Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson at the
Yeah.
helm. Oh, I thought we were.
Deshaun Watson at QB over Baker Mayfield. What's our record?
What's our record right now is what he wants to know.
Oh, I didn't hear the first part of that. Yeah. God. Probably be undefeated. Well, we'd have lost the first game against the Ravens because it was the first game of the year. The Browns would have beaten Pittsburgh, I think, and they would have certainly beaten Oakland.
I'll go. The Browns would be 9-2.
Okay.
I think they could have beat Oakland. I think that's the only one I'd change. I still think they lose week 1 to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I still think they lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that defense. If we're putting Deshaun Watson in the same position Baker was in this year, new coach, all the variables, I still think they lose to Pittsburgh. But
Well, I think the differentials in all the other games, though, I feel like it's a different vibe. It's a completely different vibe under Deshaun Watson. I just think the vibe would be better. That's all. He can make throws Baker can't. He's a better thrower of the football than Baker. I don't think it's comparable. I'll take Deshaun Watson, and he's good on the throw. I mean, on the run. So
Yeah.
I like Deshaun Watson.
he's a solid quarterback. I mean, I'd take him over Baker if we're being honest, but I do think
Top 5.
we'd only have one more win.
Yeah.
I think, and he is not top 5. And Brandon, we thank you for the call.
But who's more? I will say this though, it's much more satisfying to have Baker Mayfield as your quarterback, being a Browns fan, than it would having Deshaun. Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about Deshaun Watson.
I for some reason I keep every time my brain registers Deshaun Watson, I'm registering Deshaun Jackson's face, and I'm like, this is not the same guy I'm trying to talk about. That's why it's coming out like that. It just wouldn't be the same vibe. I love the vibe Baker puts
I
out
do.
there.
The cockiness.
Yeah. Because we've never had that. We're a city of losers for football. It's not a football. I mean, it's a football town, but we suck. So it's nice to have somebody out there, and that's why when Johnny said he wanted to be a Brown,
That's why I really loved
that's
it.
why I was excited about it. So
I mean, it'd be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
It would be very interesting to see. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. The wagons
No.
have been circled,
yeah,
according to the Buffalo Bills stand in the chat. Wanted to make sure we knew that, and I believe that's it now. I'm not expecting
is
any more
it.
callers.
no, I'm not expecting any either. Okay, guys, I'm Jordan McKelly.
I'm I'm Mitch Pell.
I don't even know what my name is. It's been one of those days. It's been, you'd be surprised with how my days went.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're going to cover your balls on Thursday at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
We hope to see you there.
We will see you there. Browns are 8-3. 24 days till Christmas.
And don't forget, guys, who has bigger balls?